This will be the first call for our first class of stocker feeders. First call for the first class of stocker feeders.
I see your point that I couldn't understand.
Give yourself
This will be the second call for the stocker feeder heifer class. Second call for stocker feeder heifer class.
That was probably your We'll bring it up to the live one. No, and I got some customers that we have a championship and CrossFit. There's no award. We still got to give them have it. Get another championship. So we need to kind of go over I hear you.
What a fun start here to our beef show. Excited to start getting into some cattle. Coincidentally, I didn't place them on this, but I looked at their record books as well, and I thought these two did an outstanding job on their record books as well. And again, I didn't place their calves on that, but it's kind of coincidental that it happens that way. Young man's kind of cream-colored Charolais cross calf's going to go ahead and win this set for me. I wish he was just a touch softer there in terms of his body shape right there, in terms of his heart and forehead. But outside of that, I think that calf's got an exciting future and an even cooler start. This young man just happened to come across him, try to get a hold of some ranchers and see if they owned him, and just came across him and found him. So I thought that was pretty lucky and cool, and also awesome that his name was Lucky, which was a pretty cool thing. Back to the calf. He's already has some natural muscle shape up high. He's big out of his upper hip. Comes down to a stout foot at the ground. I think that one's got an exciting future. Maybe even to see him as a feeder calf there. Young lady's calf that comes next, like a lot in terms of his rib shape. I just don't think he comes with the same mass and power as the one that Wings does. Wish he was just a touch stouter all the way through, but a nice one to go ahead and come second. Young lady's calf that comes next, maybe just not as opened up and wide constructed there at the surface. He's a little frailer in terms of his feature as well, but big rib and soft. Definitely like that about him. Probably going to prove to be an easy feeder in the future. Young lady's heifer that comes next, like a lot in terms of her turner rib, she needs to be just a touch softer. So you're setting that one from the surface, just a touch narrower. Down low in the way she tracks out, she needs to be opened up just a little bit more, a little bit stouter all the way through. And then the young man's calf here at the end kind of got out-competed for food. Didn't grow as fast as you'd hoped, I'd imagine. Just a little smaller, a little juvenile relative to these other set. But an awfully nice set of kids here to work with. Go ahead and put your hands together and congratulate them one more time.
Receiving purples, Tatum Devlin, Celia Busker. Receiving blues, Keith Busker, Brenna Shoemaker, and your champion bucket calf goes to Tatum Devlin. Now entering the ring is our soccer feeder heifer class, Colter Tolstead, Emily Johnson, Andrew Wolfman. First call for the first soccer feeder steer class.
ladies, Hereford Heifer is going to go ahead and start for me. You can study that one from the ground up. She tracks naturally wide. She's opened up at the surface. I think that's what was allowed for her extra rib shape and body. She's bolder in terms of her forward relative to the one who slides second. She's bolder in terms of her midrib and still softer there into the bottom part of her, the lower third of her rib too, excuse me. And then I think all of that natural width and progression of rib shape has just allowed for a touch more natural shape of muscle up high. She handles the notch bigger there right behind her shoulder. She's scouted out of her hip and comes with a touch more shape there for her stifle as well. I like that one a tremendous amount. Finland heifer that's going to come in slide second. One that I like a lot in terms of her balance from the side. But as we start piecing that one together, while she may be just a notch sounder there out of her hip and hind leg, I just don't think she's impressive in terms of her top side shape and mass relative to the one that wins. She's just set a touch more, she's just set a touch narrower at the surface relative to the one that wins. Maybe just not as overwhelming there in terms of her rib shape, either outward turn or as soft there to her flank. Then the young lady's heavy navel heifer is going to come in third for me. A big outline, kind of extended, high-performing type of calf. I just think relative to the other two, that one's not as opened up there at the surface. She's a touch greener and more hollow there to the lower third of her body. She just needs to be a touch wider constructed, a touch more opened up there in terms of her rib shape. And then I think more natural muscle shape will follow with that. But a nice set of kids and calves. Go ahead and give them a round of applause.
Receiving purples, Emily Johnston, Walter Holstead. Receiving blue, Andrew Wolfman. Just a quick announcement, if you have any trailers or trucks or vehicles up by the grandstand that need to be moved immediately, again, if you have any trailers, trucks, or any vehicle up by the grandstand, they need to be moved immediately. Now entering the ring is our first class of stalker feeder steers. First class of stalker feeder steers, Brady Wells, Kate Smith, Rosalind Wells, Caitlin Robbins. This will be first call for class 2 of stalker feeder steers, first call for class 2.
I apologize for a little bit of the cluster. Thank you for being patient as we figure out how the screen works. A nice set of feeders here to start off with. You ladies, yellow calf's going to go ahead and win for me. I think that's about as much muscle and mass as we can pack into one at this age. I hope as he matures, his joint work and brain can handle it as that one gets bigger. But like I said, you can study that one at the surface. That's a big-footed, stout feature kind of calf that's opened up extremely wide at the surface. He needs to be just a touch bolder there in terms of his forward, but I hope that comes with some extra age. He's good in terms of his mid-rib. He's still soft there in the lower third of his body, and then up high, to study that one. He's big in the shape right behind his shoulder and gets progressively wider there back into his pin set out of an impressively stout hip, and still tracks extremely well for this age and that much mass. Impressive calf, what we hold together as that one ages. You ladies, smoke calf's going to go ahead and come second. You know, he's a little bit more moderate. He's not as extended or as flashy there from the side as the one that wins, but follows suit just in a smaller package. Stout featured, wide constructed, big rib, and still comes with plenty of mass up high in there from behind. Young man's kind of chromed up black calf that comes next. It's about as opposite as you can make them to the one that goes second. That's a big alpine, late maturing, high-performing type of calf that I would imagine is awfully big when he matures. He's definitely the more extended option of the two. I just don't think he's as out there in terms of his muscle shape relative to the top two. Not necessarily a disadvantage. I think his smoother muscle pattern will pay off in the end, but right now it's just a touch greener. Needs to be a notch softer there for his size at this age. Young man, yellow calf that comes next. For me, I think he's got some pieces of quality. He's just a touch piecey and a little bit off in terms of his balance at this age. I would imagine that as he softens up and gets progressively deeper as he ages, he'll get just a notch better there. But for right now, he's a touch loose and kind of chunky up there for his front end. Wish we could clean him up there. And as we study that one as he goes away, he wants to taper there back into his pins and hip and get a little narrower there to the surface. And the young ladies, black calf that comes next, like his big rib. He's soggy, he's soft, and he's feeding. He's definitely sound and a practical type of calf. Maybe just misses a touch of that muscle. The rest of the class has. He's just a shot from gas there to move up into the next, or up a couple spots. But a nice set of kids, awesome set of calves. Go ahead and put your hands together for those individuals.
Receiving purple, Raven Wills, Roslyn Wills. Receiving blue, Roslyn Wills, Kate Smith, Caitlin Robbins.
Sorry for the interruption, guys. Regulator is here. All the vehicles that are south of the transformer pole on the east end of the grandstand, you move now. He's upset. Please move your vehicle and park over here, east of the grandstand and south of the transformer pole. Thank you.
Now entering the ring is our second class of stalker feeder steers: Emily Johnston, Rodman Bullock, Caitlin Robbins, Rodman Bullock, Dallas. Just a reminder, we'll need both first and second purples on deck for the selection of the champion soccer feeder and reserve champion soccer feeder. So first and second purples on deck for our champion and reserve champion soccer feeder class.
set of calves. When I'm directing stuff in the ring, I think I should take up a job as a flight attendant. You know, exits over here, aisle here. An awfully nice set of calves though, once again. Young lady's calf in the middle is going to win for me. I hope that his joint work holds together as that one gets older. He's a touch coarse and his hot for this age. Wish we could blow him open in terms of his forehead, but that calf has a wicked cool look from the side. He's extremely neat and fresh up there to his front end. Extremely cool in terms of his neck set and the way it sets there high on the top side of his shoulder. Like I said, wish we could blow him open in terms of his forehead and make him just a shot bigger there right behind his shoulder. And then going away, wish he was just a touch more refined in terms of his joint work, especially there in his hock. But I think if that one will hold together as he matures, it'll be awfully cool from the side. Young lady's calf in the front of the line is going to come second for me. You know, where that calf needs fixed, he definitely does so. That one's better in terms of his forehead. He still has plenty of natural thickness on the top side of his skeleton. Maybe just doesn't piece together as intriguing of a look as the one that wins. He wants to pull up there right in the middle of his spine and get that one in motion. Wants to drop in his loin and then going away. Maybe just not as impressive from behind as the one that wins. Young man's red calf that comes next is an absolute brick house. He's extremely wide constructed, stout featured, bold in terms of his rib shape, and has a ton of muscle for his age. I just think as that one matures, he's going to get a touch too round in terms of his joint work for me. But a really nice calf to go ahead and come third. Young lady's kind of baldy faced steer that comes next. Like an awful lot in terms of his rib shape. He's big rib, soft, and easy feeding. I think, but both of his calves share the same problem as far as being just a touch narrower constructed and not as massive and heavy muscled as the ones that sort of love them. They're very similar in terms of the type and kind. Like that one a touch more in terms of his rib shape. They're both extremely sound. Just missing a couple pieces of that extra muscle. The top ones in this set having just a shot more there to move up. But an awfully nice set. Once again, go ahead and give those kiddos a congratulations.
Receiving purple is Robin Bullock and Lane Johnston. Robin Bullock. Receiving blue, Katie Robbins, Dallas Holtman. And we're going to need the first purples from each class, or soccer feeders, first purples from each class.
Notice we bring these back here, these class winners back for the champion feeder cap. I think it gets awfully close between two of them, especially in the two at the front of the line. For me, the yellow cap's maybe just a little bit of a safer bet as far as being a touch sounder. At this stage of the game, I trust his joint work just a little bit more. The cap behind him is definitely more unique, more intriguing in the way that that one's put together from the side, but I still think there's just a shot of risk there with that cap as far as if the top will hold together as that one progresses, and it just stays the sound as it is right now. But an awfully nice set, folks. One more time, put your hands together for these kids, and they'll get you a champion.
Your champion soccer feeder goes to Roslyn Bullock. Your reserve champion goes to Rayleigh Wells. Before we get started with the junior breeding animal, I'll go ahead and announce our 2020 Fox View County Fair royalties. Your 2020 Fox View County Fair queen is Camry Vogel. Your first attendant is Aubrey Garrett. Your second attendant is Lily Carlson. And Miss Congeniality is Peyton Johnson. Corey Club, champion bucket cap is Antioch Machine. Now entering the ring is Class 5 junior breeding animal born after January 1st. Kate Smith, Brady Wells, Walter Tolstead, Caitlin Robbins.
We almost hit one of them already. That's right. You're right. Good job. Right there.
Here's the list of the vehicles up by the grandstand that need to be moved immediately. Gray Chevy Cruze, license plate 9-A797, white Expedition, 65 G199, blue GMC pickup and a gooseneck, 618095, white Yukon, 610681, a white Jeep, 65 K47, and a black Ford crew cab pickup, 65738F. Again, these need to be moved immediately.
A nice set of calves here to start off our breeding show. Young Lady's Red Heifer is going to win for me, and strictly on the basis that she's just a touch sounder. She's got some extra throat. She could probably be shaded down on the top of her crest ever so slightly, but outside of that, I think that's an exciting future cow. She's going to be awfully nice in terms of her rib shape. Like I said, she's awfully sound. She's the most flexible in here. Like the way she's got, or like the set she's got her hip and high leg, and then as an extra bonus, she's got some extra natural thickness there up high and there from behind. Young man's yellow calf's going to come next. Like this one in terms of depth of body, she proportions right from the side. Wish we could set her down in her tail head ever so slightly, and where she slides second for me is strictly in motion. That heifer will get just a touch more rigid there in terms of her hind leg travel, and especially down there through her pasterns. Young lady's slick black heifer that's going to come next. I think the next two kind of share the same similarities of being just a touch narrower, a touch flatter all the way through. For me, this one's just a touch more feminine in terms of her muscle pattern. She's a notch softer there in terms of her midrib. Young man's heifer, like I said, ultra feminine refined. She's got some natural width there between her pin set. Maybe just not as nice or sound in motion. She could be just a touch softer for this age as well. But go ahead and give those individuals a round of applause.
Proceeding purples, Randy Bells, Tate Smith. Proceeding blues, Caitlin Robbins, Walter Colston. Now entering the ring is Class 6, the first class of breeding beef born on or before January 1st. Jack Payne, Shaylin McConville, Rosin Bullock. This will be first call for Class 7. First call for Class 7.
Hey, Jacker, let's turn on your horse.
There you go.
You guys do the drill.
Cherry Blackwood's going to go ahead and win this set for me. She's maybe not just the most coordinated in terms of her hind leg travel. She wants to pull up just a touch in terms of her top line. But outside of that, I still think she's got a set of functional speed underneath her. The way that was so neat, refined up front, smooth in terms of her shoulder, and is still so open and bold there in terms of her core that comes with that maternal sweep into her flank line. I think it's just all what combined gives her such an elite, high-quality silhouette there from the side. An awfully nice project that young lady's dragging around. This half from here in the middle is going to go ahead and slide in second for me. She needs to be a touch squarer there in terms of her hind leg travel. She could be just a touch bolder and softer there into her flank line as well. But an easy fleshy, big maternal type of female, but still extremely functional in terms of her feet and legs. And then the young man's second here that's going to come in third for me. You know, her cosmetic issue of missing her switch probably throws off her balance as much as anything. She's too full and deep there in terms of her chest. Runs a little tighter there into her flank, and the fact that she's missing her switch, I think all of that combined just kind of throws off her balance from the side. She can be just a touch softer there in terms of her pass turn as well, especially on her rear leg. Maybe you just need to touch more depth of the heel as well. But a nice set of females. Go ahead and put your hands together for those exhibitors.
Receiving purples, Rosin Bullock, Shaylin McConville. Receiving blue, Jack Payne. Balancing the receiving class of Reading Bees, Katie McDonald, Sophia Gomez, Riley Rudolph Shaw, Talon Payne, Ian Thompson, Wyatt Walker. First call for the Cal Pair class. First call for Cal Pair. Also, there were still 3 vehicles that need to be moved. A white Expedition, 65 G199, a white Jeep, 65 K47, and a black Ford Crew Cab, 65 738F. Again, those need to be moved immediately.
Yep, March 1st, 2019.
I get over my target job. Yeah, I won't be doing that. Thanks, that's so glad to job. All right. All right, guys.
Second call for our cow-calf pair class. Second call for cow-calf pair.
here to sort through. You know, the young man's head here on the end is probably just a touch small for me. But outside of that, I mean, if you want to talk about one that's built right in terms of structure, she just absolutely floats across the ring. She's impeccable in terms of the set to her shoulder as well as how neat it's laid into her. She's really good in the backwards bend to her knee as well, and still opens up with a really good turn of maternal rib shape there. You know, she can maybe be just a touch more powerful, but outside of that, I think that's an incredible female. She's got an awfully nice hip and hind leg set into her as well. You know, I think it gets awfully close here for a second between the two in the front of the line. We'll talk about them each individually in no particular order. The young man's baldy face heifer for me, an extremely functional maternal type of cow that's maybe just pushing a little bit of extra flesh, starting to show there in terms of how much she's fallen out of her brisket. But outside of that, a really functional type of cow. And the young man's Hereford heifer up front. I like it an awful lot in terms of her balance. She's again really sound and functional. Just a really maternal image there from the side. He'll go ahead and be second. Young man behind him will be third. As we slide into fourth here, I think this female's got an extremely intriguing look from the side. I mean, that one's put together right in terms of her balance. She's neat in terms of her front end assembly. She's still really functional there off of her front leg. You know, I think for her extra size, she's a bigger scale, high-performing female that she needs to be just a notch bolder there in terms of her forehead and softer all the way through the lower portion of her body. She can maybe be just a touch more flexible there through her rear leg as well. Young man's heifer that comes next, she's got the basics covered. She's wide constructed, bold, and maternal in terms of her rib shape. As we study that one from there up, she gets just a touch coarse in terms of her joint work and a bit piecey there in terms of her look. And the young lady's brown-colored heifer that's going to round out the set. Just wish she was a notch bolder and wider all the way through. Extremely functional in terms of her feet and legs. Just needs a shot more to move up in this set. An awfully nice set of females. Go ahead and put your hands together for those exhibitors.
Receiving purples, Wyatt Walker, Riley Rudolph Shaw, Talon Payne, Ian Thompson. Receiving blues, Hayden McDonald, Sophia Gomez. Now entering the ring is our cow-calf pair class. Grady Wolfman, Logan. Logan Leister. Following the cow-calf pair class will be our champion and reserve champion breeding beef class. So we'll need the first and second purples from each class on deck. Again, we'll need the first and second purples on deck for the selection of champion breeding beef and reserve champion breeding beef.
pair here to round out our breeding heifer class before we bring back those champions. I'm going to go ahead and use the young man's kind of chromed up colored female to win for me. She's got an awfully stout bull calf by her side. I like this one a notch more in terms of balance and the way she's put together relative to the Hereford cow over here. She's obviously bred on her extra power and natural width into her bull calf. Definitely like to see that. Young lady's Hereford cow I like a notch more in terms of being bolder and softer there in terms of her ribs. She's extremely feminine refined up front and just really maternal in her image there from the side. She's got a high-performing, fast-growing heifer following along beside her. I just don't think she's as neat there in terms of her balance relative to the one that wins. She gets a notch steeper there out of her hip, and the calf could be just a touch softer there through her lower body shape. But an awfully nice pair. Go ahead and give those kids a big hand.
Receiving purples, Logan Meistress and Brady Holman. Again, we will need first and second purples ready to go for our champion and reserve champion breeding beef class. Now entering the ring, Brady Wills, Rosin Bullet, Wyatt Walker, Logan Meister. This will be first call for Class 9, which is the first class of Senior Beef Showmen. Again, first call for Class 9 of Senior Beef Showmen.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Now entering the ring is our second purples from each class. Kate Smith, Shaylin McConville, Riley Rudolph Shaw, Brady Holman.
Right there.
Well, I think while the breeding show isn't huge, I definitely think the quality is there. I think there's an outstanding set of females, an outstanding set of kids. With that being said, folks, put your hands one more time together and congratulate these young individuals. echo the same thought and still follow the same process I've been doing since yesterday. I think I've already talked about each of these animals individually and thoroughly enough that we don't need to spend some more time here on the mic and we can get rolling to showmanship. So with that being said, I think there's an awfully nice pair of them that have stood out since they stepped in the ring. Young lady, here's going to be your champion. Young man, I'll go ahead and be your reserve. Put your hands together one more time for these awesome breeding cage exhibitors.
Your champion breeding beef goes to Robin Bullock. Your reserve champion goes to Wyatt Walker. Second call for our first class is senior showman. Second call for first class is senior showman. The champion breeding beef was sponsored by Button Moore and McLaughlin. Reserve champion breeding beef is sponsored by SC Hardy Production. While we're getting ready for showmanship here, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our judge. Laurel Distain grew up on a commercial cattle operation in southeast Idaho. She showed cattle competitively for 10 years, and after graduating high school, she left Montana for Casper, Wyoming, where she competed on the livestock judging team. She graduated with her associates and was named an academic All-American livestock judge in 2017. She then transferred to the University of Wyoming and competed on the livestock judging team there as well. She was recognized as the high individual of the American Royal Livestock Judging Contest in Kansas City, Missouri. She graduated with her bachelor's in ag communications in 2019 and is currently pursuing her master's in animal science. She's the assistant coach for the UW Livestock Judging Team alongside Kayla Boardman and her new husband. Please give a big round of applause for our judge today.
Exhibitors. I am switching up the ring because I feel like we're still chugging. So, first round of seniors will be our test drive. Every individual, if you could come peek and just see how it's being ran so that we can try to get through this as smooth as possible, that would be the best. Especially the intermediates and juniors who start getting into those younger ages. Please pay attention to this first round at least, just to see how the ring is being ran now. And going forward, try to use as much as the ring as possible. Try to stay on the outside, far enough away that I could get in front of you or alongside you, but still try to use as much as the ring as we can. It's not super big right now, so the more room we can use, the better. All right? Okay. Thank you.
ring is our first class of senior beef showmen: Ian Thompson, Jack Kane, Wyatt Walker, Darren Conville, Jace Myrie, Hayden McDonald.
Does that look like some fun?
Okay, there makes sense. Thank you. I don't have to say his name. I'm just. Okay, that works.
Thank you. You didn't give me tip today.
They didn't do tips yesterday. You lost out. Did your compadre need one?
This will be our first call for our second class of senior beef showmen. First call for second class of senior beef showmen. Second call for class 2 senior showmen. Second call for class 2.
Yeah.
I think an awfully nice set of seniors here to start off our showmanship. I'm going to go ahead and bring back these three individuals. They're all doing a really nice job and doing my kind of showmanship, or my style of showmanship that I prefer. Walking those cattle into it, making sure that those legs are offset. Young man in the back, make sure that you brush that calf back up after I handle him, and then work on answering those questions, just be a little bit more comfortable in the ring. They weren't hard or difficult, just be a little bit more natural there. We'll see those three back here in just a minute. Young man with the Hereford heifer is doing a really good job. Appreciate that he's still working at it. He's not afraid to circle that heifer and get her in the right position. Just she's a little too antsy right now, a little too dancy, and not letting you stick and set her where you need to. Young man in the back doing a good job as well, just missing a couple of the extra pieces. You got to know what that heifer's faults are to make sure that you're correcting them or trying your best to do that in the show ring. She needs to be a little more, you need to loin her down with that show stick, make sure that you're coming back up, and then those feet were in a natural position where that heifer didn't look her best at times. But an awfully nice set, folks. Go ahead and put your hands together for those senior showmanship.
Sorry, no, you're fine.
Receiving purples, Ian Wiley Rudolph-Shaw, Barry McConville. Receiving blues, Jack Payne, Payne McDonald. Now entering the ring is our second class of senior showmen, Avery Davies, Wyatt Walker, Jaden Myrie, Shayla McConville, Logan Thompson. for the final class of seniors. First call for final class of seniors. Second call for final class of seniors. Second call for final class of seniors.
Stay on the rail, guys. Stay out as far as you can, please. Ladies and gentlemen, stay on the rail. Do I want water? Take a water. Is it ice, like ice cold? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Did you notice I was getting dehydrated, did you?
No, I just try to make sure everyone's got water.
Again, an excellent set of seniors here to work with. We're going to go ahead and choose these three back. I think they're all three doing an outstanding job. I'm not going to critique them too much now, but young man, make sure that those front feet are square and not stretching that calf out too much. Young lady here is we're gonna go ahead and excuse these two back to the farm. I think if we're gonna start discussing each of their traits and their qualities as a showman, the young lady with the black cap is really home. That cap is working with her. Just need to work on setting their speed a little more at home so they respond to the show stage just a notch better. And then we can actually work on trying to get them to get stuck where we want them to without using the stick so heavily. Outside of that, she did a really good job. And then the young lady with the Hereford hearing steer did a really good job. Those back legs need to be switched on the opposite direction instead of offset that way. Cappers just want to dance around and not wanting to work with you a little bit too much today, but an awfully nice set. Go ahead and put your hands together for those seniors.
Receiving purples, Wyatt Rockford, Jada Myring, Logan Thompson. Receiving blues, Avery Davies, Shaylin McConville. Now entering the ring is our final class of senior showmen: Wade Sanders, Celia Buskirk, Isabel Gomez, Logan Mystrid, Rosin Bullock. Following this class will be our champion and reserve champion, the senior showmen. So we will need all that were asked to come back from the first class, and all that were asked to come back will need to be in the ring for the final selection for champion, senior showman, and reserve champion.
Lots of room. Lots of room. Yes, please. Invited and used to be reminded. Here you go.
our champion and reserve champion class. First call for champion and reserve champion class.
Well, keep going. Keep going.
Once again, a really nice set of seniors here. We're going to go ahead and pull these two back. They're doing an excellent job, not only presenting themselves, but their animals as well. Young man here that's going to get just right out of the top end of it. For me, needs to be just a touch more aggressive, a touch more intense in terms of his showmanship style. He gets that heifer stuck where she needs to be, especially when we have him up here on the profile, which doesn't lead super great for you. Like to see just get a little bit more into her and pull just a touch harder there and not need so much help kind of twist and pushing her around. Young lady here with the other calf, commend you for getting one that small, that tame in general, and not willing to work with you. I want to see those back legs offset a little hard when they're that small, trying to set their legs. But outside of that, you did an outstanding job. No fault to your own, maybe just more so the age of the calf. And then the young lady that's going to round out the set here. Like to see those feet set up just a little bit more. You're working awfully hard at it, but need to do just a little bit more practice at home in the future as far as getting those feet set. With the shows taken, maybe not even necessarily needing to use it as much as you are. But an awfully nice set, folks. One more time, go ahead and put your hands together for those individuals. And we'll bring back our top seniors in just a moment.
It might be how
Receiving purples, Robin Bullock, Wade Sanders. Receiving blues, Taylor Busker, Isabella Gomez, Logan Lystridge. Now entering the ring is our champion and reserve champion senior showman class. Eileen Mopshaw, Ian Thompson, Barry McConville, Wyatt Walker, Jana Myrie, Logan Thompson, Robin Bullock, Wade Sanders. This will be the first call for Class 1 of Intermediate Showmen. First call for Class 1 of Intermediates.
Pull up. Pull up. There you go.
Second call for first class of intermediate. Second call, first class intermediate.
This is an instance where my job gets really hard here in the ring. Not only from the fact that there is an extremely good set of senior showmen out here, but also from the standpoint of thinking about it as is necessarily a fair judgment of the work they've done all summer. Because really, if you think about it, these individuals spend less than 1% of their time in all their summer here in the ring to get recognized. And the fair committee does a good job of trying to get the most qualified individuals out here. But if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, it really isn't fair, a fair judgment of how much work and effort these kids have put in at home and how much time they spent in the barn or on the road and showing these cattle. So with that being said, I think it's awfully tough out here. And if you don't get the handshake today, just think about maybe you're the best judgment of where you should have placed. Because really, I don't know any of you, and is it really a fair judgment if you just think about it from that standpoint? So with that being said, I'm going to go through and talk real briefly about each of these individuals. I think they're all doing an extremely good job, and like I said, this is where my job gets really, really hard and difficult here in the ring because they're just so good, and you have to get awfully nitpicky here. Maybe it's just a bad day in the ring, but like I said, I'm going to go ahead and spend a little bit of time here on the mic, talk about each one of them individually. Young man up front does an awfully good job showing that heifer, really good in terms of his presence and how he not only presents himself with that animal. He gets her stuck every time, and like I said, that's my style, to walk him into it. I think it's the most natural position, and then you don't have to mess around with the stick, and it's just there to use as a tool to calm and kind of keep the cattle's mind off of what you're doing here in the ring. Young man with the Hereford heifer, before you took that last lap, her back legs were just a touch too close together, but outside of that, he did an awfully good job in his heat. He stood out since the second he stepped in the ring. An awfully good showing there. Young man behind him did a really good job in his heat as well. A little slow on getting back to brushing that hair back up after I handled in your individual heat. Do a good job walking that calf into it. Every now and then, he'll need to be just a touch more stretched out. As of right now, he's a little too close together. You need to spread those front feet out just a touch farther. Young lady behind him, an awfully good job presenting yourself once again. Every now and then that calf will get just a touch too stretched out for me, so make sure you're paying attention to where those back feet are, and relative to how that calf pieces together, it's just a touch watered all the way through, so don't overextend that calf. Young man behind her, doing an awfully good job here right at the first start of the, when he came back for the final heat. Had some trouble getting that calf turned around, but once you do get him stuck, he stands there, he stays, and he looks incredible when he does it. Young man behind him doing an awfully good job once again. One that struck me awfully hard in his individual heat. Still strikes me awfully hard out here once again. Not much to critique on. There's not really good showing there. Young lady behind him, that heifer will get just a touch stubborn when you get in motion. She doesn't want to move for you, and she'll start to throw her head every now and then. So outside of that, when she's there, you get her walked into it, you get her put in the most natural position where she looks her best, and I commend you for that. Same story for the young man. Maybe you want to see her pull that offside back leg just a little bit farther forward every now and then. You get a touch too square for me. Calf will be just a little bit stubborn on the move as well. Make sure you're staying consistent on keeping that head up though. Once again, folks, I'm going to take one more final look though. Please congratulate every one of these individuals, and I really hope that the younger eyes and the ones are watching for this stellar set.
Your champion senior showman is Ian Thompson, and your reserve champion is Riley Waushaw.
Thank you. Nice job. That's a little too much exercise for this old boy.
Now entering the ring is our first class of intermediate showmen: Emily Johnston, Talon Payne, Seth Myring, Rosalind Wells. First call for our second class and intermediates. First call for second class. Second call for the second class and intermediate. Second call for the second class.
That's good. That's good. Just keep sending.
Set of intermediates here to work with and to start off our intermediate show. I think they're all doing an awfully good job. I'm going to go ahead and talk about each of them individually in no particular order. Young lady at the front of the line doing an outstanding job. Just her persistence and work ethic, I think, is showing out here. She's getting outshone just a touch, though, but to no fault of her own. She's still working hard, and I commend her for that and not giving up. Young man in the middle is doing an awfully good job, very knowledgeable about his project, not scared to take a lap and make sure that that cap is stuck where it needs to be. Every now and then, though, those legs will get a little skinnywampus to make sure that you're paying attention and keeping those front legs square. Young man behind him, that heifer's getting a little antsy. She's wanting to dance around ever so slightly, but when you do get her stuck where you want her feet and legs to be, she looks awfully good. And then the young lady in the back doing a good job. Make sure that you're paying attention permission to wear a mat, because every now and then you'll lose me, and then I'll come by around the side again, you're like, oh, she's there. So just make sure that you're paying attention. You're doing a really good job. Just a little bit out of fall, but those legs are a little hard to set on those younger calves. They get a little weird. They don't want to set them where you need to. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and keep back these two individuals here in the middle. Go ahead and put your hands together for each of these intermediates.
Come back. You two will come back. So don't go far. They're going to have to go to front. Wait not to get
Receiving purples, Talon Payne, Seth Myrie. Receiving blues, Emily Johnston, Roslyn Wells. Now entering the ring is our second class of intermediates, Brenda Shoemaker, Josie Sanders, Talon Smith, Kate Thompson. Following this class will be the selection of the champion and reserve champion intermediate showmen. If you've been asked to come back, please don't go far, as you'll need to come back in the ring for the champion and reserve champion. So again, if you've been asked to come back, don't go too far for the selection of the champion and reserve champion intermediate.
again, a really nice set of intermediates. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing I did in the last game, talk about each of them individually, and then we'll talk about, or we'll recognize the ones we're going to go ahead and bring back. Young man with the black cap at the end of the line, so an outstanding job. And once again, appreciate that he's not afraid to go ahead and reset that cap so they can get out and move and get him set where he wants him to. Again, he's my style as far as showing, getting that cap to walk into it. Doing a really good job, staying calm and collected and still working that cap to get him where he needs to be. Young lady in front of him doing a really good job. That cap's extremely calm. Commend you on getting that one broke right. Maybe every now and then those those back legs will square up. I want to see them offset just a touch more. Young lady in front of her doing an awesome job. Again, I commend you for getting one that small and that young to act right in the ring. With that being said, his age and stuff, he's just a little bit too antsy out here and doesn't quite understand what you want him to do. You do get him offset right, he just doesn't want to leave quite as good as the others in the set, but nice job from her as well. And the young man in the front of the line, again, super knowledgeable about his project, easy to talk to, and fun to hear about what he has to say, doing a really good job. That cap's a little antsy, not wanting to lead extremely well for him. He's rolling with the punches and working with what that cap is willing to give him, and I think that, with that being said, he needs to be commended for that. So with that, we're going to bring back the two at the end of the line, and the young man at the front. We'll see them back here in just a moment, folks. One more time, put your hands together for an awesome set of intermediates.
Receiving purples, Josie Sanders, Talon Smith, Kate Thompson. Receiving blue, Brenna Shoemaker. Now entering the ring is our champion and reserve champion intermediate showman class, Talon Payne, Seth Myrie, Josie Sanders, Talon Smith, Kate Thompson. This will be our first call for our first class of junior showman, first call, first class of juniors. Second call for our first class of juniors, second call for the first class of juniors.
once again, folks, I think there's an awesome set of intermediates out here. They're all doing a really outstanding job. With that being said, I've already talked about each of them individually, so I'm going to save some time here on the mic, pick one that I think is the best. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and highlight the two that I think are fighting in here for reserve. It'll be the young individuals up front. I like that the young man in the front of the lines doing a really good job, working hard on getting those feet set and stuff, and that calf moves an awful lot. He's getting pretty antsy. Same story with the young man's heifer behind him. I like that you're walking her into it, but then she'll just get a little offset every now and then, so make sure you pay attention to that. I'm going to let those two duke it out just a little bit longer, and I'm going to go ahead and select the Grand Champion Intermediate. But if you would, folks, please put your hands together one more time for an awesome set.
Your champion intermediate showman goes to Tate Thompson, and your reserve champion goes to Seth Myring. Champion intermediate beef showman is sponsored by Knudsen Livestock and Fencing. Reserve is sponsored by Cobra Jones Motor.
Okay.
I don't know if you announced that. I just
No, I
haven't.
Okay.
On the video. I'm hungry. I would announce it.
Okay.
Now entering the ring is our first class of junior showmen: Berkeley Davies, Dallas Boltman, Keith Busker, Brady Wells. Just a reminder to all the exhibitors, we are going to do the carcass contest results in between the overall showman and before the market lead. So again, we're going to do the carcass contest results right after the overall showman and right before the market lead.
Right there. Okay, go ahead and set him up.
First call for our second class of junior showman. First call for second class of junior showman. juniors, we can call for the second class of juniors.
There you go. You have lots of room. Lots of room.
Really outstanding set of juniors here to work with. You know, as a group, I think we can work just a little bit more on maintaining our eye contact with me so that you know where I'm at all times, and then you know how to transition and rotate yourself around that animal so that I see every inch of the animal at every second possible. With that being said, I think they're all doing a really good job. There's two to me that have stood out just a touch more as far as working with that calf and getting those feet and legs set, making sure that their head is up at all times in motion. It'll be the young man at the front of the line and the young lady with the red cap. We're going to come back and kind of duke it out for the final round of juniors. But if you would, folks, please put your hands together as we excuse these individuals back.
You will come back. So don't go very far. Bring the check. You get that, buddy? You're going to come back.
All right, good job. Good job. Come on down. You did a nice job.
Proceeding in purples, Brady Wills, Dallas Holton. Proceeding in blues, Berkeley Davies, Keith Gusford. Is our second class of junior showmen, Sophia Gomez, Caitlin Robbins, Tatum Devlin, Grady Bolton. This will be first call for the final class of juniors, first call for the final class. And just a reminder to everyone that we will be doing the carcass contest after overall showman in between market. So right after overall showman and right before the market beef starts, we will have the carcass contest winners announced.
Come right back in.
Second call for the final class of juniors. Second call for the final class.
Okay, ready? All the way around, come right back here. Come on around. Keep on following. Few more steps, few more steps. One way, right there. Get set up. Right there, right there.
Once again, a really fun set of juniors here to work with. They're all really great to talk to, and they're doing an excellent job. I'm going to go ahead and bring the two in the front of the line back. I think they're both doing an outstanding job. The young man with Lucky has an awfully cool story, like I mentioned, but he's doing a good job keeping control of that calf. He's been working on setting those legs and doing a really good job with that. The young lady behind him is doing an outstanding job. I don't think you can make a mature cow any more gentle than that. She follows her around like a puppy dog, and it's clear that they worked at home with this kind of stuff. Just make sure that we're working on setting those feet and legs a little more, and that we don't pull up too far to the fence so that I can't get around in front of you. The young lady behind her seems just a little new with the game. She was super knowledgeable about her project, but maybe needs to work on setting those feet and legs just a little more. And then when we're on the profile there, you need to continue to maintain and scratch that calf. Outside of that, she's done a really good job. And the young lady in the back of the line, same story. Just make sure that when we stop that calf, we're working on setting those legs up and that you continue to scratch them and make sure you have the right hand on the halter. But an awfully nice set, a cool set of juniors that are just really good at what they're doing. Go ahead and put your hands together and congratulate those.
Go ahead, just come on out.
Receiving purples, Tatum Devlin, Brady Woltman. Receiving blues, Caitlin Rollins, Sophia Rollins. Now entering the ring is our final junior class, Kate Smith, Ainsley Woltman, Colter Tolston. Following this class will be our champion and reserve champion overall junior showman. So if you are asked to come back, please don't go too far, because immediately after this class will be the
champion and reserve champion junior showman.
Keep going down that way and then make a circle and come right back in. Start circling out and come right back in. Okay, right there.
There you go, swing out and in line. You got nothing to like here. There you go. That's good work. Just like that. Perfect.
Okay, just go ahead and circle around, follow the fence all the way around and come right back here, please. You're the leader, I'll follow you. Go right back up to where you were. Give yourself lots of room.
Red and white.
Once again, a really nice set of juniors here to round out our final heat. I'm going to go ahead and bring back all three of them, but I'm going to talk about each of them individually. Young man at the front of the line does an awesome job. That calf walked right into place where it needed to be. Did an excellent job with that. Maybe just work on trying to get it going a little bit better, a little bit faster there when you pull that calf into motion. Young man in the middle, don't be afraid to get close to that calf's head. You're too far out on that chain. Go ahead and grab the chain. You don't have to stay on the leather. As far as that halter goes, you'll do a better job keeping control of the animal. You'll have more fine control as far as getting that calf to stop when you need her to, and she'll lead just a touch better with her head up a little better as well. You only need to get to the line. You don't need to rotate all the way across, okay? Just keep that halter in your left hand and just step in front of that calf when I come on the other side, okay? Don't switch hands when you're staying still. Work just a little bit more on trying to get those feet and legs set where you want them to, rather than just getting them where he wants to stand, okay? But outside of that, they're all doing an outstanding job. One more time, folks, please give these individuals a round of applause.
That's it. I'll come right back in, okay?
Ainsley Waltman, Colton Tolstead. Now entering the ring is our champion and reserve champion junior showman class. Dallas Waltman, Brady Wells, Tatum Devlin, Brady Waltman, Tate Smith, Ainsley Waltman, Coulter Tolstead. Following this will be our overall beef showman and reserve beef showman class. So we are going to need champion and reserve from each age group. So we'll need champion and reserve champion senior, champion and reserve champion intermediate, champion and reserve champion junior.
Okay, start the first position.
Also, just a reminder, immediately following the selection of the overall and reserve overall champion beef showman will be the Curtis contest results. So right after the selection of overall showman and right before market beef.
Towel, hang it on. We're just going to move her over. Just like that. Okay, good luck.
Okay, remember how we done last night? Okay, like they used to. Do the same thing. Okay, you ready? Lead us off. Be the leader.
Second call for overall class, second call for overall beef showman.
Pull up as close to the fence as you can.
Once again, folks, please put your hands together and congratulate each of these juniors for making it back for their final drive. I think they're all doing an absolutely outstanding job. I'm going to go ahead and recognize a couple of my favorites in here, though. A young man at the front of the line with his big old gentle giant that thing's as calm as can be and just follows and listens to whatever that kid has to say or do or asks of that cat. I think that something that might get overlooked is that kid's awfully small and that cat's awfully long, and so how far he has to reach and bend over to get those back legs where he needs them to be, I think is awfully impressive. A young man here with Lucky, I think, is pretty stellar and got an awesome, exciting future ahead of him as a showman. To get one that small, that broken, gentle, and to stand and listen and just do as he asks is impressive in and of itself. And then you wouldn't find someone faster with the comb as soon as I touch that cat than him. After that, the young man in the corner with the red cap, he walks that steer right into place and gets him stuck a little corner in kitty wampus right now. I want to see if that cap can straighten up just a touch. And then the young lady here at the end of the line, my eye is drawn to her because she's just as cute as a button, and the only thing I can say from this angle is her big old bow sticking up. So I think each of them are doing an awesome job. Like I said, I've highlighted a few of my favorites, and then I think the other thing I wanted to mention was the kids that I told them to work or fix something or have listened, and just for example, the young man with that kind of crumbed up heifer told him to scoot up on that halter, and he did so, and I think that shows a lot about character and just how high quality of individuals we have to work with here at the county fair. So with that being said, once again, folks, please put your hands together and give a big round of applause for an awesome set of juniors.
Your champion, junior showman, is Tate Smith. Your reserve champion is Dallas Goldman.
What's the matter? You did great. I didn't do nothing. I told her good job.
Alright, now we'll move on to the overall and reserve champion overall beach showman. So we'll bring in the champion senior showman and reserve champion senior and champion intermediate, reserve champion intermediate, and champion junior and reserve champion junior. Now entering the ring, Ian Thompson, Wiley Shaw, Tate Thompson, Seth Myrie, Tate Smith, Dallas Holman. Again, immediately following the selection of the overall champion showman and reserve champion showman will be the carcass contest results. Again, the carcass contest results will be immediately following the overall speed showman and reserve showman.
Well, it's been an awesome set of showmen here and to work with, and each individual out of their respective age groups, I think, won very handily. So with that being said, I'm not going to spend much more time here on the mic, but I will mention, I think that no discount to the younger divisions here, but I think to become an elite showman, it takes some age and some maturity and some seasoning to just get to that point where you can figure out every inch of every animal that you show and figure out how to make them look the best that they can. So with that being said, your two seniors are going to go ahead and be your champion and reserve overall. I'd like to give a mention to the young man and one man intermediates. I think he's still doing an outstanding job. One more time, folks, please put your hands together and congratulate each individual out here for doing an outstanding job.
All right, good job. You did good.
Yeah, just grab it and give it back.
Your champion overall beat showman is Ian Thompson. Your reserve champion is Wiley Rudolph Shaw. Can all the carcass contest exhibitors come in the ring, please? So as they make their way into the ring, I'll just do a quick explanation. I'm Teresa Sanders, and myself and Jay and Sean and I are our superintendents for the carcass contest. Another room. So these kids all would have picked their carcass contest steers last fall and had them on feed until last week, I believe. They went to my ring feedlot and weighed their steers in. From there, they did an interview, they turned in record books, and their steers went directly to Cargill in Fort Morgan, where they were killed and they were paid on the grid. So whatever they produced, they're going to get a check for. So I guess I would like to say our highest dollar steer this year brought back $1,500, so that's a pretty good deal. I mean, that's a good carcass that produces quality and yield great, and avoid those discounts to get a pretty good return. So, we'll start with our purple ribbon this year. Okay, so purple ribbons this year. When these guys fill on the grid, they're going to get premiums for prime and choice, field grade 2s and 1s. They're going to get discounted for a carcass over 1050. They're going to get a premium for CAD. They're going to get discounted for dark cutters. So when they get their premiums and we add them up, the purple ribbon premium winners were Kate Kane, John Ansley, he had 2, but just 1 purple ribbon. Kyler Thomas, purple ribbon. Jet Marion, purple ribbon. And Jada Myring, purple ribbon. Our blue ribbon, John Ansley, Sutton Parkinson, Tate Thompson, Aubrey Shrewsbury, and Hadley Shrewsbury. Our red ribbons were Tate Thompson with his other one, and Trail Shrewsbury. And we had, I have to explain this because white ribbon, I know it sounds bad, but Carson Thomas, are you in here somewhere? He had the unfortunate luck of his animal getting out the night before, and it was a little bit hard to get him in and get it loaded, and it stressed a little bit, and it was a dark cutter. So he took some hits on the grid for the dark cutter, but we want to commend him for all his work up to that point. Things just happen like that. Dark cutters just happen, Carson, so don't worry about it. So, now our overall carcass winner is Kate Payne, grand champion. That means he brought back the most premiums on the grid. Congratulations, Kate. And John Ansley, you were reserve champion with your number 701 steer. And to take it just a little bit further, we add their interview score and their record book score in for like an overall grand champion and reserve grand champion. The carcass is half of that score, the record book is a quarter, and the interview is a quarter. So our grand champion overall of the carcass contest goes to Jada Myring. Congratulations. And our reserve grand champion overall of the carcass contest is Jet Herring. So when I have a second, the results will be posted over here if anybody wants to look at how they did or any of the spectators want to see. So thank you guys. Alright, this will be our first call for the first class of market B, which is the market heifers. So first call for our first class of markets.
block out the sun. Yeah, it's a little hot.
No. They said that.
Second call for the first class of markets. Second call for first class of markets, which is our market pepper class.
Did they tell you there's only 2 market peppers? You get the lucky. You get to pick 1 and 2. Oh, there he is. Ready to roll? Okay.
Alright, we're going to go ahead and get started with our market beef. So our first class, market peppers, Wyatt Walker, Wyatt Walker. These peppers are $11.85 and $12.63. This will be the first call for our first class of markets British breed. British breed. First call for the first class of market beef British breed.
Go ahead and pull on it. Pull on it. Hey, you can girl see.
Second call for the market beef British breed steer class, second call for market beef British breed steer class.
Really nice pair of them here to start off our market beef show, and I think it gets awfully close. There's a ton of give and take between the pair of them. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and talk about each of them individually. Young lady's chromed up heifer that she's leading off. That's just outer featured while you're constructing one of the pair that's just packed full of product and power. I think it's about as massive as you can make one and still allowed to get around functionally. If we put tweakers, she needs to be just a touch better there up to her front end. She gets a touch short there at the top side of her neck. She gets a touch thicker there as well. If we could change her, maybe want to see her set down with a notch more flexibility and comfort on a softer back leg. But outside of that, she's the one that's better in terms of her finish, more consistent over her 12th and 13th of the pair as well. Young man's heifer that he's got here in the back is the stylish one of the pair. She's the neater chested, cooler fronted one that's thinner in her neck and cooler in the way she's put together from the side, as well as being a notch sounder structured there off of her rear leg. As we start to break that one down, she might not be just as overall massive or powerful relative to the brick house we've got in the front. She's maybe just a touch flatter there in terms of her forehead comparatively, but up high that one handle is just a shot more expressive, a shot crisper, and a shot squarer there, especially there right behind her shoulder. So with that being said, the young man's going to have the one, young lady with the heifer up front will be second. Go ahead and congratulate each of those individuals.
That's awesome.
Proceeding purples, Wyatt Walker. Also, champion market heifer goes to Wyatt Walker. Reserves champion market heifer goes to Wyatt Walker. Now entering the ring is our market beef steer class with British breed, Jack Payne, Josie Sanders, Alan Payne, Jack Payne. Each steers range in weight from 1387 to 1594. First call for the first class of market beef. First call for first class of market beef for prospect.
Go ahead. Start blending in. Give it one through. Stay right there.
Sorry, buddy.
Second call for the first class of crossbreds. Second call for the first class of crossbreds.
Right there.
We've gotten off the practical set of cattle into here. We're going to go ahead and use the young man's cap at the back of the line to win. It's awfully impressive that one that big and that heavy in terms of his finish and still stout and powerful can get around the ring as well as he does as far as structure-wise. He's extremely functional, extremely consistent in terms of his finish, and in terms of handling quality. That was the most impressive in terms of the power he needs at the backside of his shoulder. Still gets progressively wider over the edges of his loin. It still leaves you awfully stout and powerful there from behind. And then as we put them together off on the side, that one still pieces together proportional, a balanced look to go ahead and win. He'll be your champion, British. Young man in front of him, maybe just a notch piecier in the way that one's put together. He's fuller in terms of his brisket. He's awfully consistent and full in terms of his finish. Still wants to cut up a touch there in terms of his flank, and I just don't think he gets around the ring quite as well as the one that wins. He could be laid back in the set to his shoulder and just a bit more flexible there off of his rear skeleton. He's not as impressive there on the top side of the skeleton as far as sheer power goes. Maybe that's where the young lady's Hereford steer has the advantage. That one's more impressive in terms of his power up high. But when we get that cap on the side, he doesn't proportion together as well as the two that win for me. He's deeper through his chest, crestier on the top part of his neck, and needs to be reconstructed in the way he handles his back leg. Needs to leave you with more power going away. Young man's cap that leads off or rounds out the set. Still a big rib, soft, productive type of cap. It's finished right, consistent over his 12th and 13th. But when we get that cap on the side and motion, that was straighter in the set to his shoulder, is a little bit too upright off of his rear skeleton as well. And then relative to the other trio, that one's just not as powerful or as impressive in terms of his handling quality up high. But a nice set. Go ahead and put your hands together and congratulate those individuals.
Receiving purples, Jack Payne, Talon Payne. Receiving blues, Jack Payne, Josie Sanders. The champion Marcus Spear British breed is Jack Payne. Reserve champion Marcus Spear British breed is Talon Payne. Now entering the ring is our first class of crossbred. Isabella Gomez, Talon Smith, Avery Davies, Talon Smith. These steers range in weight from 1068 to 1149. So it'll be the first call for class 20. First call for class 20. second call for class 20.
A nice bit of lightweight here to sort through. I think the young man's yellow cap wins this one pretty handily. For me to sort him up higher in the future, that one needs to be sounder and built better from the side. He's too rock forward in his shoulder and knee, he's too round and short in his hip, and then consequently just doesn't quite usually step in motion. But outside of that, that's a wide constructed, stout featured cap. It's big rib, handles impressive up high in terms of the sheer massive power he needs at the backside of his shoulder. Certainly doesn't disappoint as he leads you as far as being stout out of his pin set, still dropping down with plenty of shape in his lower stifle and quarter. Young man's cap that comes next needs to be softer and drop down more in terms of its length, but if you handle that one up high, he's the next best in terms of the natural fitness. He feeds shoulder back, he's the next stoutest out of his hip, but still comes with plenty of shape in his lower quarter. Young lady's balding face cap that comes next needs more muscle. He's too narrow underneath, but I like him better than the one that rounds out the set strictly based on the fact that he's a softer body, easier feeding type, his counter in terms of the way its structure is put together. Young lady's cap that leads off to the back is one that's still put together a balanced look from the side. He's level over his spine, it's still functionally structured. There just needs to be a lot more of him. He's too bare in terms of his finish, too shallow in terms of his lower body, and he needs to be powered up off of both ends of his skeleton. But a nice set. Go ahead and put your hands together for those individuals.
Receiving purple, Alan Smith. Receiving blue, Alan Smith. Isabella Gomez. Receiving red, Avery Davies. Now entering the ring is class 20, Jada Myring, Roslyn Bullock, Seth Myring, Roslyn Mills, Avery Davies. These skiers range in weight from 1202 to 1263. Will be first call for class 21. First call for class 21. Second call for class 21. Second call for class 21.
Set here, lead up our second class of steers. I think you could twist and turn and jumble these three around and let it make sense if you let it. Lots of different opinions, lots of different ways people could do it depending on where their priorities lay. But I think the smoke cap in the middle is just the most fault-free, the most basic in terms of the way he's built for me. He needs to be cleaner up front. It's too deep in his chest. It needs to be more extended up to the front third of his body. But outside of that, it's a huge middle, wide constructed, stout-featured cap. The handle is impeccable in terms of his muscle shape up high. He needs to be toned down in the set to his back leg, but I think that allows him to step and reach with the most flexibility as these top three. And I think you can justify either one of these for second, but I'm going to go ahead and use the young lady's red cap. I think this one's rib shape is just a little bit more consistent all the way through. He needs to be more relaxed in the set to his shoulder, and he needs to have more bend and cushion there to his back leg as well, and could use a shot more power there through his lower stifle and quarter going away. But I like that one just a notch more in terms of his balance and the way he's put together from the side. Young man's yellow cap is going to come next. I think there's a lot of pieces of this cap that you can justify to use him to win. I just don't think he combines them together as well as the other two do. He's too flat in terms of his forehead. He needs to be softer there into his flank. His handling quality up high is impeccable. He's extremely hard to the touch, yet shapely and square. Just needs to be rearranged in a couple spots to piece them together better from the side. Young lady's cap that comes next needs more power directly behind his shoulder and leading you, but I like him over the one that remains strictly because he's the sounder structured, more functional cap. When you get him in motion, he's a notch better in terms of his finish as well. The young lady's cap that comes next is the more powerful, bigger back sticker-ended option of the two. His structure needs to be better for me. He's too straight and forward, the angle of his shoulder to me. Needs to be more coordinated and flexible off his rear skeleton as well. But a nice set. Go ahead and put your hands together and congratulate those individuals.
Receiving purples, Rosin Bullock, Jada Myring, Seth Myring. Receiving blues, Avery Davies, Rosin Wells. Now entering the ring is class 21, Ian Thompson, Shaylin McConville, Randy Wells, Wade Sanders. These steers range in weight from 1283 to 1304. First call for class 22. First call for class 22. call for class 22. Second call for class 22.
That'll work, buddy. Right there.
An awfully nice pair of calves here to lead off this set. I think the choice or the decision between the two gets awfully close because they're fairly opposite in terms of their type and kind. I'm going to go ahead and use the young man's lat calf up front. He needs to be more flexible and softer there in his rear ankle, but outside of that, I like that calf an awful lot. He's the longer, more extended, more stylish option of the two. He handles really good in terms of his power, expression, shape up, height. Like that one in terms of the way he pieces together from the side. Young man's smoke calf that comes next. Definitely the mellower, smoother finish option of the two that's softer and deeper and just stouter all the way through as far as feature goes, but with that his joints are just a touch rounder. He sacrificed some look up front in terms of a thicker crestier neck. It just doesn't get out and move quite as elite or as attractive as the one that wins. The lady's kind of her colored calf that comes next. Wins for me. I think they're both comparable in terms of the way that they're built. They're both comparable in terms of the muscle that they feed over the top side of their skillets, and I like the way this calf gets out and moves in motion just a notch better. They both need to be rearranged in terms of their shoulder, but this calf's more flexible off of his hip and hind leg. The one that's leaving right now is definitely the stouter pin, bigger hipped option of the two. That's probably just a touch more shapely up high. But with that being said, he's too tight in terms of his flank and up right off the bone fence. But I like both of those. Still quite a bit in terms of practical feed steers. Just need to be a notch sounder, a notch more stylish from the side, sort of in that set. But an awfully good pair, or a good set of them. Go ahead and put your hands together for those individuals.
Receiving purples, Ian Thompson, Wade Sanders. Receiving blues, Shaylin McConville, Rayleigh Wills. Now entering the ring, class 22, Berkeley Davies, Logan Thompson, Baron McConville, Tate Thompson, Jace Hyman. These steers range in weight from 1322 to 1370. This will also be first call for class 23.
Like you have this, I'm up and coming right back. Good job. Head down.
calf we've had so far, and I think the quality runs all the way in the third and fourth, with pieces of fifth. An awfully competitive set here between the top two. I'm going to go ahead and talk about each team individually and then recognize which one, or the direction I like them. Go ahead and talk about that young man's yellow calf up front. That's about as loose neck as you can make them. He's super intriguing in terms of the way his chest and shoulders, ladies and gentlemen, still yet opens up so bold and round and soft in terms of his rib body shape. You can't make one handle much better than that up high. The only issue I have with that calf is you put him into motion. He wants to work up there in terms of his ankle, wants to miss his step and get a little bit rigid in terms of the way that one moves. Needs to be corrected from that standpoint for me. And that's where the young man's flat calf is definitely better. That's the sounder structured one that just floats out here in motion. Extremely good in terms of the way his ankle is related to him. In my opinion, I want you to touch more consistent in terms of his finish and cover as well. From the side though, maybe not as unique in terms of the way his front end is assembled. He needs to be more extended ahead of his shoulder, cleaner the top side of his neck, and maybe just fit his neck up ever so slightly. With that being said, I think you can justify me either way, but I like the young man's black here to go ahead and be first. Young man's yellow calf will be second. As we come down in here to third, I think there's a lot of unique pieces in this calf still. Maybe he just runs out of gas there from behind. He's put together right in terms of the way his front end is assembled. He's good in terms of his rib body shape. He still handles really fresh and shapely in terms of his muscle up high. Get off directly behind that calf and watch him in motion. He'll want to drop out of his stance and pinch it ever so slightly. Gets a little shallow there into his twist, and he'll need to touch more muscle and shape into his quarter and cycle. Excuse me. The young man's calf that comes next, once again, I still think there's pieces of quality. He's just not blended them together quite as well as the initial three do. It's a little rawer in terms of the way he's put together, a little harsher in terms of his forehead, a little bare over 12 and 13, needs more muscle as he needs you. And Lady's calf that rounds out the set is a sound structure, high-performing, big outline calf. It's still soft and deep and practical in terms of his rib shape. Just needs a shot more muscle to slide up there in this set. An awfully good round of individuals. Go ahead and put your hands together for those three.
Receiving purple, Jace Myring, Logan Thompson, Tate Thompson. Receiving blue, Jeremy McConville. Receiving red, Berkeley Gates. Now entering the ring is Class 23, Ian Thompson, Ainsley Woltman, Riley Rubachshaw, Rosalind Wells, Logan Thompson. These spears range in weight from 1388 to 1411. This will be our first call for Class 24, first call for Class 24. class 24. Just a reminder for exhibitors, following class 25 will only bring back the first purple. Second purple, just be prepared just in case we do decide to bring the second purple after the champion crossbred is chosen. But for right now, we're just going to bring first purples back in, and then second purples, just be prepared in case your name is called.
Once again, here, the next the same thought I had in the last class. An extremely deep set, especially for the top three. Quality runs awfully high and awfully deep in this set. I think what separates the two up high isn't when you get in from behind or on the side or even from that part. From a front three-quarter view, the calf in the front of the line is so much more genuine in terms of his top side shape and mass. He's not as elite in terms of his silhouette and profile as the calf that comes second. Not as elite in terms of his hip and hind leg either, but that one's so much more genuine in terms of the way that one's put together from the ground up. He's a wider constructed, older rib, especially there in his forward, that handles so much more powerful directly behind his shoulder. Gets progressively wider over his loin and doesn't disappoint you as you from behind. The calf that's going to go ahead and come in second is extremely striking in terms of the way that one's put together from the side. You can't make him sounder or better looking than that, but he needs to be more genuine there, directly behind his shoulder, and not stouter there in terms of his top side shape all the way through. Young man's calf that comes next definitely corrects him from that regard. He's bigger than shading speed right behind his shoulder. It gets progressively wider over his loin. As we watch that one get in motion or trump him up on the side, that one's just not as elite in terms of the way his feet fit together. He wants to open up in terms of his shoulder, get a little shorter and rounder out of his hip. Not as coordinated, and his hip and hind leg is too ahead of him. Finley smoke calf that comes next is a practical, heavyweight, heavy muscle type of calf. If we put the piece together the right kind of structure or look to sort of in the set. He's a little straighter in terms of his shoulder, not as coordinated in terms of the way that one gets out and moves. And the young lady's calf that comes next, just a little shallow there through his flank, and once again, you can reorganize in terms of his structure to sort of in the set. But once again, an awfully competitive class. Excellent steers. Go ahead and put your hands together and congratulate those exhibitors.
Receiving purples, Ian Thompson, Wiley Washaw, Logan Thompson. Receiving blue, Roslyn Mills, Ainsley Wolf. Now entering the ring is class 25, Brady Wills and Dallas Woltman. This will be first call for, this is class 24. This will be first call for class 25. And we have a special award for the young man in the ring right now. Dallas has your champion rate of gain with a rate of gain of 4.49. So we can give him a big round of applause.
All right, leave him on in there. Good job.
Again, following class 25, we will need to bring back all of our first purples for the selection of champion crossbred and reserve champion crossbred.
start getting into our heavyweights. You know, there's some give and take between the pair of them as well. It's following the same trend that we've seen all day. I think the young man's Bronco face calf just handles all of his extra weight much better in terms of the way his structure's laid into him. He needs to be more powerful from behind. That's where the red calf definitely has the advantage. He's bigger out of his upper hip, but he comes down with more shape there through his lower quarter and stifle. As we evaluate that one from the side, though, he's too rocked forward and set to his shoulder and knee. Doesn't quite carry all of that extra weight as well. The motion is the one that wins does. Folks, go ahead and put your hands together and congratulate these two individuals.
From right up there. This guy right over here. Right there. Smile, man. Great smile. All right. Congratulations. Go ahead. Go back to your dad. Champion of the world.
Now entering the ring is Class 25, Wyatt Walker, Elijah Walters, Kate Smith. These years range in weight from 1507 to 1589. This will also be our first call for our champion and reserve champion CrossFit class. So again, we will need the first purples from every class to make that champion and reserve champion class. Again, first purples from each class.
Oh, big red.
Second call for our final champion class, second call for champion class.
As we bring up the big boys for the heavyweights, I think the young man Smoke Cat wins pretty handedly. He needs to be just a notch sounder there off of both ends. He's rocked forward just a touch too much off of both. But outside of that, I love his extra stoutness of feature. He's got a big old foot, wide constructed, still good in terms of his body shape. Maybe not the boldest in terms of his quarter, but still handles extremely well and powerful up high. Certainly doesn't disappoint you from behind. Young man's red calf's going to go ahead and come second for me. From a build standpoint is where he gets beat. He too moves rock forward too far in terms of his shoulder, a little cresty in terms of the way the top side of his neck is laid into him. Needs to be a notch squarer and leveler there out of his hip as well, but still powerful, wide constructed, big rig, and productive kind of steer there. Young man, slick black calf, still represents a good kind in my opinion. Just doesn't come with the same extras as the two ahead of it. That's probably the soundest, most functionally structured one of the set. It's got some extra bend there to his back leg. It allows him to meet his track just a little bit more readily. I just don't think he comes with the same amount of power or lower body shape that the two ahead of him do. Still a practical type of cap, like I said, just gets outshone. Once again, will you please put your hands together and congratulate those individuals.
Alright, now entering the ring is our champion and reserve champion Crossroads Drive, Talon Smith, Rosin Bullock, Ian Thompson, Jason Myrie, Ian Thompson, Dallas Wolfman, Wyatt Walker. Immediately following the selection of champion and reserve champion Crossroad will be the champion and reserve champion markets here. So we're going to need the champion and the reserve British breed and the champion and reserve champion Crossroad. So champion and reserve champion British breed, be ready. And champion and reserve champion Crossroad, you'll stay around the ring immediately following the selection.
quality here in your Marcus Steer show, and it's the highest quality one I've ever gotten an opportunity to store it. For that, I'm thankful. The decision gets awfully hard out here, especially considering the reserves and the seconds to sit behind a few of them. I'm going to go ahead and take one more final look at the year champion. But if you would, folks, please put together a big round of applause and congratulate each one of these individuals.
Now entering the ring for the second purple from that class is Logan Thompson. Your champion crossbred goes to Jace Myrie, and your reserve champion goes to Logan Thompson. Entering the ring now will be our champion, reserve champion British breed for the selection of overall champion Marcus Steer. Following the selection of champion and reserve champion Marcus Steer, we are going to need the champion and reserve champion Heifer and the champion and reserve champion Steer for the selection of overall champion Market Beef and reserve champion Market Beef. champion and reserve champion heifer, and the champion and reserve champion steer.
One big circle, head back to tail.
Just a heads up for all the exhibitors and all that are watching, we are going to start the sheep show at 1:45. And the sheep show is going to start at 1:45.
That's good enough right there.
Going to echo the same thought earlier. There's still a lot of quality in these, even as we bring in the British marketeers out. As hard as that decision was for the champion drives, the crossbeds, I think it'd be silly to split them up. So they'll go ahead and be your champion and reserve steer overall. Go ahead and put your hands together one more time, folks.
Champion market steer goes to Jake Myring. Reserve champion goes to Logan Thompson. I will need the champion and reserve champion market heifer to come to the ring for the selection of champion and reserve champion overall market beef. Now entering the ring with the champion and reserve champion heifer is Wyatt Walker and Wyatt Walker. I'd like to take this time to thank our judge, Laurel. She's been awesome today. I think she's gave some great advice for the kids that they can really use as they have these rest of years of their 4-H. So we need a big hand for her and thank her for her time today.
When those heifers came in for the Martin Heifer Show, I was thoroughly impressed with the quality that ran between both of them. I still think that they match up well with the amount of quality here. We have all 4 of them standing out here. Still think they don't touch this year, so I'm going to go ahead and keep them as a pair one more time, folks. Please put your hands together one more time for all of these exhibitors that came in the ring, win or lose.
champion overall market beef goes to Jace Myrie. Your reserve champion goes to Logan Thompson. Thanks everybody for attending. And again, the sheep show is going to start at 1:45. The sheep show will be at 1:45.